You guys already clicked yours?
Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. We are team number 2, and here's my colleague, Nathan, Angelia, V, and my name is Dal. Today, we will present to you the understanding of Fullerton Flight with the submission of this accounting for hybrid Series B preferred stock, pursuing as accounting standard 2014-2016. Oh my God. Our presentation includes 4 parts. First is the summaries of facts. Second is the case issue, including 4 of them. And then we're going to give out the solution. And finally is a conclusion. First of all, we have the summaries of facts, which are dividend is a cumulative of 8% annually at the original issue price. For the voting rights, there is a significant voting right at the significant events. With the redemption option, is non-contingent after the 3rd anniversary, which is November 2015, at the holder option. With the conversion option, is convertible to common stock at the $1.20 per share after the date of issuance. Oh, sorry. This makes me nervous. There's no protective covenant. Here are also some additional information about the case. The par value is 1 cent per share with the issuance cost of $100,000. The company is well capitalized with market capitalization of $100 million. The common stock is publicly traded. All the common stock are preferred stock. Conversion of preferred stock, we have a very small impact on a daily transaction of the company common stock. Conversion option is at the money at issuance. The embedded features does not meet any of the exception on the scope of ASC 815, 10, and 15. The Series B preferred stock is not measured at a fair value with any of changes recognized in the earnings under any applicable US GAAP after the day of issuance. And here I'm going to pass to V for the first issue of whether the host contract is marking on debt or equity.
Thank you, Val. In order to determine whether this host contract is more akin to debt or equity, the company must use the whole instrument approach. That is, all relevant term and feature of the Series B preferred stock must be considered. The Fullerton Flight management judgment is required in determining the applicable weight for its term and characteristics. These are the analysis of all the characteristics of the host contract with guidance from ASC. The first characteristic is the redemption right. The redemption right is the investor ability to put the hybrid financial instrument at par value with cumulative unpaid dividend is generally viewed as a deadline characteristic. The following consideration would impact the way that we assign for the redemption right. The right is assessable by the holder and the right is non-contingent will be considered more weighted. The redemption right and the conversion right are issued at the money, so none of right is favorable than the other, so will be considered as a neutral. The investor ability to redeem after 3 years holds residual risk of the issuer, so it will be considered as a less weight. The company is well capitalized. The market capitalization is more than $100 million. And the hybrid financial instrument also contains the conversion right, which is more weighted. The second characteristic is the mandatory redemption. The mandatory redemption is the issuer ability to set a specific mandatory redemption date is the deadline characteristic. Moreover, according to ASC 320, emphasize that the presence of mandatory redemption is a strong indication of deadline characteristic, so will be considered more weighted. The third characteristic is the conversion right. The conversion right is the holder ability to convert the Series B preferred stock with the fixed conversion price is subject to adjustment is considered more to an equity-like characteristic. The following consideration would impact the right would impact the way that we assign to the conversion right. The right is accessible by the holder, and the conversion right is not mandatory, so will be less weighted. The conversion right is non-contingent, so it's more weighted. The right is issued at the money, so we decided to be as a neutral, and we, as our research under all the circumstances and current facts, it's less likely that the holder will redeem this hybrid financial instrument before it becomes redeemable. So we consider it's more weighted. Now I'm gonna passing to Angelina. She's gonna cover all the characteristics of this house contract.
Thank you, V. Next, I'm going to talk about the fourth characteristic, which is the voting rights. Voting rights is generally viewed as an equity-like characteristic. We decided to put less weight under voting rights because of these following considerations. First, the investor's ability to vote on the certain matters, for example, extraordinary distribution at the money, change in control, major asset sales, is less substantial equity-like characteristic. Moreover, if converted basis, so if all the preferred stocks are converted to common shares, the preferred shareholders control only 5.6% of the total votes. So we decided that this voting right is less equity-like characteristic. Next, I'm going to talk about the fifth characteristic, which is the dividends rights. The dividends rights is generally viewed as debt-like characteristic. We decided to put more weight on it because of these following characteristics. First, dividends are mandatory, and then there is stated rate and also cumulative fixed rate dividends. So we decided that this dividends right is a strong debt-like characteristic. Last on the list, we have protective covenants. We did not find any protective covenants in the case, so we put it under equity host. Protective covenant is generally viewed as that characteristic. Since we didn't find anything, we put it under equity host. The weight consideration for protective covenants are the following. First, there is no collateral requirements, and then the performance upon the redemption is not guaranteed by the parents of issuer. In our case, there is no such relationship exist. And the Series B preferred stock does not provide investors with like certain creditor rights, akin to that. So, based on our analysis of all relevant terms and characteristics, using the whole instrument approach, we decided that the host contract related to Series B preferred stock is akin to debt. Like these two characteristics are more weighted, the mandatory redemption and dividends right. Now I'm going to pass it on to Nathan to discuss more issues.
Thank you, Angelia.